Today we're going to be talking about everybody's best friend from 1.17, copper! It's your best friend, right? You don't have any other friends, just copper in your life? Well, that's sad. I mean, no, that's happy. I'm glad you're here. Just like you and your best friend, copper ages, gets old over time. And sometimes you want that process to happen fast. That's why we made this video. So if you want your copper to age quickly, here are some do's and don'ts. First, let's learn, how does the copper aging process work? Let's say that this block right here decides that it wants to go from its current age to the next age. And if you didn't know, copper has 4 ages: normal, you got your exposed, you got your weathered, and then you have your oxidized. So these are the 4 ages that it can grow up into. So let's say that this block right here wants to grow up. Well, what it's going to do is it's going to first need the chance to grow up. And so in every chunk of the game, and I don't know why I'm in this menu. Here we go. Here we are. Here's the grid. So in this chunk right here, every single game tick, in default Minecraft, there are 3 chances that like a block is going to update and move on to what, do something like grow from a sapling into like a tree or copper to age up, that sort of thing. So it's going to run a check to see, first it's going to run that game tick check to see, is this block going to actually age up? And I keep hitting this menu. Okay, get rid of it. And so if that happens, then it's going to go into a pre-aging mode. And that state tends to happen once every 20 minutes. Now, obviously, you can get lucky. In fact, I had a block earlier that aged twice right in front of my eyes, like super duper quick. So you can get lucky, but in general, it takes about 20 minutes per block to get into that state. Once it does that, it will be in a pre-aging state. And in that state, it's going to look around itself in a 4x4 area. I guess I should say in a 4 radius. So let's say this is the block, right? And it jumps over here. So that's 1. The next one is 2. The next one is 3. And then the next one is 4. And it's going to do this all around itself. So that's 4. We got like 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. So there we are at another block. And then it might even like look above it, it'd be like 1, 2, 3. Well, that's technically, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4. There you go. So there you go. So it's going to look all around it. And what it's looking for is another copper block that's not waxed. If it's waxed, it just ignores it. But if it is an unwaxed block, it makes sure that it is not a younger age than itself. Now, remember, I'm thinking about this block as its original copper state, and it's trying to just age to the exposed copper block. So in this case, it would look all around, and there is no age younger than just the standard block of copper. So it would say, yes, there is no block that is younger than me, and it would go ahead and age to the next step. So exposed copper it becomes. Now, let's say we get lucky and this exposed copper wants to change into weathered copper. Well, it's going to do that exact same check and look around itself. And this time, it's definitely going to find a block that is younger than it, right? So this block right next to it, that is just normal copper. And because it is younger than its current form, which is exposed copper, it will not age. It will basically abort its pre-aging state, and it will not grow any further. Now, how can we use this to make copper age quicker for us? Well, I have a few different situations set up, just kind of show this off. But the method that you want to use is make sure there are 4 air blocks in between your copper blocks. That way, whenever the copper block does a check to see if a block near it is younger than itself, well, there will not be a copper block in that area, and therefore it can age independently and be just fine. You'll notice that as I start this aging process, that the reason that there is even these weird rules about checking for copper states and whatnot means that a huge area of copper like this looks very natural as it ages. So it will go up one level, and then a whole bunch of blocks around it will kind of go, and then it won't really go for the next level until there's a huge patch of age of copper that is the same age, which looks really, really neat. So in order to test this out, we are going to turn the game rule of a random tick speed, and we're going to set that really, really high. Let's do 3,000. Okay, so that's 100 times, 1,000 times faster than the normal game. So as we do that, you'll notice that this area where I have left all 4 spaces, now copper aged uber fast. I mean, you can already see this is like fully aged. I don't know what is wrong with this one copper. There it goes. Now it aged up. We have a space over here that has not quite 4 blocks. So this is only 3 blocks of space. This one is aging pretty quickly. And that's because every once in a while it's gotta, just like ignore the fact that, there's some, it's not gonna look at every single block. Over here, it's aging even quicker. And then this is by far the slowest of the aging because there are just no spaces at all. And so if you're trying to age copper, this is by far the worst way to do it. If you have an entire build made out of unaged copper and you're hoping that it will age up, you'd be much better dismantling it, placing your copper far away from each other, and then it would age a lot faster. So as you can see, kind of what I was talking about earlier, where you have these huge areas, and then it will finally sort of pop in as another type of aging, weathering material. So it looks natural this way. It's just not very fast. So now you know the technique on how to get your copper to age even faster. And because I set up this command block structure over here, we can watch it all happen again. Oh, wow. Isn't that cool? Hooray. See, it's just absurdly fast over there. I've set the game to normal speed now, so we're not getting that 1,000 times fast speed. And we'll probably, even while I'm talking, you'll be able to see that this method will generate aged copper in front of our eyes. Like, it will actually work while we're sitting here and talking. One thing to note is that whenever it does that check, it doesn't seem to check every single block. So if it's doing a check, it's not going to look absolutely everywhere, which is one of the reasons why even spacing them out not completely perfectly, where you have 4 air blocks between the copper blocks, and even over here where there's just 1 air block, it still is a better method than having all of your blocks together without any air at all. And of course, this also works 3-dimensionally, so if you happen to have any blocks above or below, that would also slow down your aging process. Now, let's say you've aged your copper and you absolutely hate it, and you want to go back. You're like, please, I wish I hadn't have aged all this copper. Well, don't forget that the axe can be used just like how you strip logs of their bark. You can strip the oxidation off of a copper block. And then if you don't want it to age, all you have to do is take honeycomb. And I always think of this as beeswax, but when you search for beeswax, it doesn't pop up. And you can slap a copper block like that, and then those will not age. They will stay at their current age and will not change. If you want them to age after you have added the honeycomb, you can remove the honeycomb or remove the wax just by right-clicking on a block that has been waxed, and you can see all the particles there. Another interesting thing is that aged copper can actually be used in a crafting table to make all the different varieties. Cut copper, the slabs, the stairs, all that stuff. And it keeps its age, which I think is really, really cool. So there you go. If you want to make some exposed cut copper slabs, you can. And it just respects the age of whatever the original block was that you're crafting with. And my final fun little copper factoid is that if you want to, you can actually wax all of your copper in the crafting table. So you can take this exposed cut copper. It is not waxed. You can take your honeycomb and put it in the crafting table, and the output will be waxed exposed cut copper. So if you have the honeycomb and you have the copper already in your inventory, you don't have to put it down, then right click it with the honeycomb and then mine it back up. So it's a much quicker way, if you happen to have all the items already, to get the waxed version of that copper. Now you cannot do that situation where you put the axe in with the copper and then like get it to, you actually would have to set that on the ground and then hit it with the diamond axe or whatever axe to remove the wax. It doesn't work the other way. Thanks so much for watching and learning about copper with me. If you enjoyed the video, make sure you subscribe for future videos just like this one. Leave a comment down below, let me know what you're thinking, and leave a like on the video. Thanks so much for watching. See you in another one. Bye.